Well, hello everybody. It's the Eagle, and my co-host tonight is young Gail again. So welcome, Gail.
Hello, good evening. It seems like an age since we've done these, Keith, to be honest.
Yeah, it does. Just getting a nice cheer from the school kids at home,
Mm.
for you.
Yeah, they're all
So
back.
yes, so Gail, yes, they are this week. Oh, what a relief, eh? What a relief it will be. That's all I can say. That's better. I'm just having a G&T as well.
Oh dear.
I've been on
Well,
the booze all afternoon. Do you know that?
um, have you?
Well, I've had a couple this afternoon. Yeah, I always do. Go round to my mates and have a couple of G&Ts. So
Hmm.
I get away. I have a breather for an hour and a half.
Mm.
So, um, have you been doing much?
Um,
We ain't got
oh,
anybody in at the moment.
I think yesterday, like I said, I went out. I went to collect my little Fuji X100V, which I've been waiting a little bit of time for.
Yeah,
Took it out in a bit of a test. It is a testing time to get used to it, but I love the compactness of it. It's very small.
yeah,
Um, it's kind of got I like all of the what's called, the different sort of scenes that it has,
yeah,
but I think I'm gonna have to get used to it. But I like
yeah,
the idea of having a fixed framed
yeah,
35 millimeter camera
yeah,
lens without
yeah,
bothering. It's just a point, shoot, click, whatever, but I'm just getting used to the nuances because it has sort of if you set it to auto ISO, you've got to play around with the shutter speed and different things. So
yeah,
I'm just getting used to the custom buttons and things like that. So yeah, once I've got my head around it, I think it will be fine.
yeah.
So I did a little bit of a walk around London, and then came back, and then today I've literally I was wandering through the park, and these Indian ladies who were dressed in costume asked me to take photographs of them. So I was like, "Oh, this is fun. This is my ideal, time." So I took a load of pictures on the mobile phone,
Yeah.
and they were quite impressed with them. So that was all right. And I had my Sunday lunch as I always do, and then I just went on a. I sort of went on a 3-4 mile walk today.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Have you seen any write-ups about the new Sony Vlog 001 camera?
No, never heard of the Vlog 001 camera.
Yeah,
I think go on.
Sony fetching. It's similar to the Pocket, but it's Sony, and that's
Right,
all I know. So
right.
someone messaged me on Messenger and said, "Have you seen or heard that Sony are fetching out a camera similar to the DJI Pocket, and it's called the Sony Vlog
Oh,
Dash
so
001?"
so it's the what it's like a mini gimbal then?
Yeah, it's a gimbal. It's the same as the DJI Pocket,
Right,
but
okay.
it's
Hmm.
it's made by Sony. So I just thought I would ask you if you'd heard anything about that
I
because
haven't, but it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
yeah,
If they come up with the same concept as the Pocket, it's not gonna do any good for me, if I'm honest with you,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
unless they decide to make that sensor
yeah,
bigger. So
yeah,
if they made it like a 1-inch sensor,
yeah,
I might be interested.
mm,
But I mean, DJI built that big old camera last year, didn't they? That gimbal
yeah,
camera.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting to see what they come out with. And obviously the Osmo Pocket is gonna probably come out with the 3 soon.
yeah.
And then we've got the GoPro coming out on the 9th, I think it is, the new Hero 12.
Oh, I don't know when that's coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
coming out
yeah, I
on
know it's
the
coming out. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
Well,
that's coming out.
yeah, it looks like we're going to be on our own tonight because we've been going 4.5 minutes and we've had one pop in and gone straight out. So
That's alright.
uh, that's all right because we haven't done one for 3 or 4 weeks. So shall we start what we're going to talk about then?
Yeah, let's do it. Are you gonna show your video first?
Well, yes, I was going to show this video, so I will have to share the screen when I get back up to it. Uh, share screen. I've got to remember how to do it because it's been a while, hasn't it?
Mhm.
So which one is it? It must be that one. Yeah, share. And then you will have to tell me if it's sharing.
Relics of a different age.
Can
No.
you see?
It will
No.
only be found in places like this.
Oh,
In other words,
I know what
hard
I've done
cash
wrong.
will
I
disappear.
haven't
It will become electronic.
showed
Transferred
on
by
screen.
things
That's
like
it.
these.
Hi, Tony.
Rush to get
Yeah,
rid of
you
cash.
keep an eye on it and tell me.
What's the cost?
It's on. It just needs to be okay.
Let's face it. Money
Volume
is
up, Keith. I think we're going to have to go back to the beginning,
Yeah.
bills
and it might be volume up.
future.
Well, the
Physical money
volume's
like
as
these.
high as it'll
Relics
go.
of a different age.
Okay.
It will only be found in
Yeah.
places like this. In other words, hard cash will disappear. It will become electronic, transferred by things like these. So what's the rush to get rid of cash? And what's the cost? Let's face it, money is cumbersome for consumers and banks.
You need to mint the cash, you need to print the bills, you need to transport them in armored trucks, store it in secure vaults, and you need to sort it at the till as well.
Operating in cash costs countries about 0.5% of their GDP every
I
year.
didn't know that.
Cost isn't the only incentive to move towards a cashless future.
Demand is rising, primarily demand from the young generations who are looking for fast, easy-to-use means of payments.
Digital payments aren't just easy, they're neat.
It becomes easier for governments to monitor tax evasion and fraud, so we will have less of that going on.
Having every single payment automatically recorded is efficient, but there's a downside.
Let's assume, for example, that a country that used to be democratic, where people were not paying too much attention about safeguarding their privacy, becomes undemocratic and someone wants to control citizens.
Yes, absolutely, Tony.
Far from what you buy, your political leanings potentially. And generally speaking, just monitor what you're doing in ways that they shouldn't be doing.
The ballot boxes are kept locked and sealed.
Living in a democratic country doesn't mean you shouldn't be concerned.
They're also worried that private companies perhaps might use this data in ways that are.
Can you hear it all right then?
It's kind of tinny.
Yeah.
Electronic money trails can allow governments and private companies to access and harvest personal data. But there's another threat that's worrying banks: cyber attacks.
It was a high-tech bank robbery. Capital One suffering a massive hack attack involving
100 million Capital One customers' accounts.
had their personal information stolen.
In March 2019, Capital One Bank was hacked.
A sole hacker managed to steal away 106 million
Cool.
people's
106 million.
Yeah.
And that attack was noticed just a few months after. You can see that a lot of companies
Hi,
are
Dynamic Duo.
such that
Hello, Rich and Cara.
which is cyber attacks that are successful. It's much harder to prevent an attack than to be on the hacker side, because you only need to succeed once as a hacker. Once upon a time, you would have two guys coming in, they would tell everyone to be on the floor, then you put the money in the bag and then run away with the money. And you would get insurance against that. You knew what the risk was. Nowadays, with cyber attacks, they can happen anytime, they can take any form, so it's very hard to insure against.
Still, many countries are fast moving towards a cashless society. In Sweden, the number of retail cash transactions per person has fallen by 80% in the past 10 years. The trend is even evident in far more cash-loyal societies. China's digital payments rose from 4% of all payments in 2012 to 34% in 2017. The trend is inevitable, but a gradual transition is key.
It's important that we have a sort of control as to how fast this happens, because if that's not the case, some people might be left behind.
Some people may find it harder to grasp how much money they have without the physical representation of it. Not everyone knows how to use internet banking technology, and people living in remote areas where internet cover is patchy may find they have to drive for miles for their basic needs. And there's another sector of society that relies heavily on cash.
People living in the street don't carry card terminals with them, so it will be very hard for them, well, first of all, to collect money and to pay for things. They will be among the people who suffer the most from it.
Going cashless is just the latest evolution of money in the modern economy. But it raises a fundamental question. What is the value of money if it doesn't physically exist?
Central banks enact monetary policy by exerting control over the amount of money that is created and that is in circulation. And they can do it because they are the only entities that print and create money. The purpose of it is to control the amount of money that is used by the entire economy. In a cashless society, obviously this becomes much harder because money presumably can be created by other entities. And so central banks are actually starting to realize this, especially after Facebook made the announcement that they were going to launch a Eaglevp. It shows you the extent to which central banks are already thinking about the future of money.
The move towards cashless societies is well underway, but governments need to ensure that as cash is phased out, the vulnerable in society aren't left behind.
So, what do you think to that? That's raised many questions.
Well,
there.
I think that it's been heading there since, to be honest, when the COVID crisis came around. I think that's something that invariably was going to come up. So I think that's the issue, isn't it? I think that it was definitely going to be something that we were going to face. I'm just getting up an article by the Guardian newspaper. Can you see it, Keith?
Yes, I'm just putting it on.
Got it?
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
Okay, so it says here that this article's more than a year old, but I just found it quite interesting. US society to a step closer as more than 23 million people abandon coins. So basically, more than 23 million people in the UK virtually used no cash last year, while notes and coins will account for just 6% of payments within a decade, a report predicts. The findings from the banking body of UK finance are likely to prompt concern that millions of people could be left behind as the shift to a cashless society accelerates. However, other data has indicated cash is making a comeback as a result of the cost of living crisis, with many, that's interesting, under pressure households returning to notes and coins to help them with the budget.
Yeah.
UK Finance said that debit cards were the most used method during 2021, according to adding to 48% of the payments. So that is interesting. However, what is interesting is the fact. Can you get that off the page, Keith? Now I can't seem to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that what is interesting here is that when people start thinking of budgeting, they go to cash. And even Tony said most places have stopped taking cash due to lockdown. Yeah, but I think, Tony, there is a wider picture here. And I think that this is a start of very scary times. If you think about how many computers have been hacked, systems have been hacked of late, like the Met Police one was hacked, the Irish Police one was hacked. So if they're hacking big systems, and the way people are getting deceived now is getting quite advanced. So I've been looking at some of the modern methods of fraud, and that can come down to QR codes. I don't know if you've heard about this scam, Keith.
No.
Basically, when you go to a parking place and you see a QR code as a sign, please. Well, thieves have got wise to this now. So they're using QR codes and they're sticking another QR code on. So when you tap your phone, it's going to somebody else's account.
Yeah.
So that's scary.
Yeah, because I mean, most of the car parks locally in my area, Grimsby and Cleethorpes, are now card payments. That there's very few cash machines about now, and it's the same as along the front at Cleethorpes. I think even the toilets are cashless toilets. You've got to pay with your credit card. I don't know whether Richard has seen those along the front. It's just that somebody told me that they wanted to go to the toilet along Cleethorpes front the other day, and he had to pay with his card. So it's just one
Wow.
of those things, And I thought to myself, wow, I wish it was back to the old days where you could just walk in and not pay for anything.
Well, they do. They actually, what's really funny is they do have those free toilets in Bath, in London. That's the only
Yeah.
different thing Sadiq Khan actually did, um,
Oh,
because it was a number of years ago. It was 50p to go to the toilet
yeah,
in London, and since he's been elected, it's not now. Every
yeah,
every public toilet appears to be free in London, apart from some in Hyde Park where you have to pay, obviously. But
yeah,
most of the stations in central London, it's free,
yeah,
which is good, I think. That I think toilets should be free.
yeah.
Um,
So in your opinion, do you think that we are heading for a cashless society, or do you think that we will never get there? Because as that article said that I put on, that the aged, my age and older than me, don't use a cashless. They would prefer to pay with cash.
but then you're going to be looking at within a generation.
That's all right, Richard, by the way.
So, say for example, even at my age, you've gotten used to using your card. I
Yeah,
don't use cash that much at all now.
yeah,
I use cash sometimes. I do prefer having cash than card, but
yeah,
I don't like the way everything is so a lot electronic.
yeah,
And
yeah.
now everything's about electronic phone. Use your phone for banking. Use your phone for this, and then it's passwords, passwords, passwords.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
then people hold stock about their phone with the Wi-Fi signal on, and I'm thinking, well, if you have your app on, what's to stop anybody stealing your details? Because with the Wi-Fi, you're having a signal out.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
people,
Unless, like you said the other day about a VPN. I
yeah,
mean, but a lot of people don't think about that. And
yeah,
I mean, I went to Aldi's yesterday, and the number of people that just tapped with the phone,
yeah,
didn't even get the card out. So all the information's on that phone, and as you say, if they're on Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi, it can be hacked.
yes.
So I think people aren't really careful. It's like when I used to carry cash, I only carried I think about up to about £40 on me, because
Mm,
then if anybody stopped me in the street and demanded money, I'd only lose £40,
yeah,
and even now when I tend to go out, I don't take my credit cards unless I know I am going buying, you know. So if I ever got mugged, I'm only worth £40, so
it's
they can
but
have that.
yeah, but the thing is, if we go cashless, then if somebody gets into your machine, you're screwed. If
Yeah,
somebody steals your phone or gets
yeah.
into your bank account, one foul swoop, they can wipe you out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So Richard says they always pay on the phone, never use card anymore due to limits. On phone, there isn't any limit on Apple Pay. So do you use a VPN then, Richard? Because if you don't and you're on public Wi-Fi,
Well,
or
they could use. They're probably on 4G, aren't they? So when you're paying,
yeah,
you're just on your phone contract.
that,
But some
yeah.
people will use the phone and put on their Wi-Fi. As soon as you start playing around with having your Wi-Fi signal on, um, as soon as you put your Wi-Fi signal on, if you make a payment, you got to be really careful.
Yeah, yeah. So he
And then
says,
have
I never have enough money in my main account. Don't blame you, Rich.
Yeah, we only use 4G, 5G, never use Wi-Fi in places to pay. Absolutely, I agree with you. It's
Yeah,
it's not a good idea, just because of the way that I think frauds are put together. It's quite scary, isn't it now?
yeah, 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 yeah. When you look at how easy it is now
Yeah,
for these scammers, fraudsters, uh, and so forth, I mean, to be able to hack into the police here and over in Ireland. So he says,
yeah,
I can also pay with Apple Pay without having internet connection, as Monzo authorise it offline for security measure. It's quite clever. Oh,
Okay.
and Tim's in the room. Hello there, Tim.
Yeah, I think what happens is that some bank accounts will have like a secondary security measure, which might be Face ID, or it could potentially be your hands.
Yeah.
And I've seen I've seen some new technology where people are literally paying with their hand in some places with the palm of their hand, or
Yeah.
some people have had implants and they're paying implanted with an implant on their hand, and they're just literally putting their palm on a machine and paying for it.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting concept, I think.
Yeah. But it's as was brought out on that little YouTube bit that I showed, that it's the vulnerable of society that's going to be affected most, because they
Yes.
cannot, they won't have cards or anything like that. So they are going to be put in a situation where they won't be able to get anything.
Yeah, absolutely. That's quite a funny one. The dynamic duo has put down, I want the implant in my forehead so I can bash it against the machine every time. Cara, that's a good one. Cara wants to buy anything expensive.
Oh, that's a good one, Richard.
Yeah,
Carey.
you imagine like that. Beep.
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like that. Someone comes round behind you and pushes you in onto the thing, and it goes up and up and up.
But again, it's kind of, I don't know. It's scary, isn't it? Because you're thinking so much has happened, and then you're right about the vulnerable in society. But it's not just the elderly; it's kind of like the poorer bits, or people who like may not get so much money, got kids to feed, and they make a little bit of cash in hand work, who are going to suffer.
Yeah.
Because,
That's what I was thinking. It's the homeless, these people that work for cash in hand. If we become a cashless society, then there are other ways of being paid, I presume, like with food, clothing, putting money on the electric or gas. But if they're homeless, they haven't got a place. But I mean, there's about 3 or 4 homeless people in Cleethorpes, and you see people putting the odd 50 pence, 20 pence, pound in. But thanks for the chat. All right, Richard. See you again. Say, I'll speak to you in the week, mate. Bye for now. Yeah. So you look at it and you think, how are they going to survive? These people, on the streets, because they rely on people walking past and putting a bit of change in. I mean, I look at when I pass the one in Cleethorpes, I think the most I've ever seen in his tin is perhaps £3-4, and I often think, well, how does he manage to feed himself with that amount of money? I mean, he sleeps rough because he's always out there, and he's a nice guy. I speak to him nearly every time I see him down there.
Right.
So, but it worries me how people are going to manage.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you think so many things are changing and are in the ether at the moment, because even the stability of our currency is something that I'm quite scared of, because there's a lot of deals going on between China and Africa as well, and Africa and Saudi. Saudi is there is destabilization of our currency going to be happening in the next few years, and I can see that the currency market will change into the Bitcoin. We will all be trading in digital coins soon, I think.
Yeah.
I think the currencies and the exchanges as we know it are definitely going to change.
Yeah.
Maybe in the not 10 years, but I think in the next 15,
Mm.
the way we do our business as we know it would have been completely changed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I think a lot of people concerned. I don't think it's just within the UK. I think this is a worldwide thing.
Yeah, it is, Gail. It's definitely a worldwide thing, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know that when you look, many global trends. It says many countries have been moving towards reduced cash usage for several years.
Yeah.
This is often driven by factors such as the convenience of digital payment, the rise of online shopping, and that has brought about a lot of this cashless society because when you look at the amount of stores, well-known stores and brands that have closed because of people buying online. I mean, you go down any town high street and mainly it's restaurants, coffee houses, charity shops, and that's it. The big ones have gone. Woolworths, B&M, or Wilco's is going. Most of the shops that I grew up with around my area have all disappeared, and it's all because of people turning to online shopping because it's that convenient, isn't it?
Tim's just put, I think you'll find that most hairdressers won't be taking anything other than cash. Well, that hi there, Wonder Star Gaming. I think that's the case at the moment, Tim. But coming for the next, and there are reasons for that. But I think that eventually it'll all go to digital. It will the senior rates mess only takes cash at the bar. But that will change.
It will.
It'll be the military will come scraping that wall without we're paying it our way, and then eventually it will be no, you're not. You're going to be doing it this way. I mean, I think that there was a situation in Nigeria a few months ago where they were printing all cash, and they couldn't get, nobody in Nigeria could get cash to say for love nor money because they changed all the currency. So I do think that it's quite scary what's happening. I don't like the idea of cashless society because we've all got comfortable with it, haven't we?
Yeah. I'm not really, I mean, when I look, I think I prefer using cash because I can keep a balance on my spending, whereas when you use a credit card or cashless society, then you just think, well, I want that, I want that, I want that, and you don't realize how much you're spending.
But you know what's really scary behind this is that it's going to, exactly. And I was just about to get there, Tim, because I am thinking there is an awful lot of money. It is in their interest. It's in the bank's interests to promote the fact that we go cashless, because every time you make a transaction, they're charging a percentage on the transactions. So basically with American Express, a lot of shops won't take American Express because they charge 6% of the overall transaction. So what is going on here is if you have a cashless society, it's a bank's way of actually making more money, because not only do they sting in one side, they sting you in the other. And Wondersgate says a purely digital currency can be manipulated as the Olymps please. It is bad enough with money created from nothing. Buy bank loans as it is. I fully understand
that's a good point,
one.
Steve. Yeah, that's a good point. That.
Yeah.
And Tony says, when all the money goes to the people invaded, our country will still end with nothing. Well, yes, you're right there.
Well, I think it's one of those things that even if you go back to digital currency, take a £50 credit card and pay for something, then that 50 is down to 45 and so on. Yeah, it's bad. I mean, if you take out one of they go, use these currency cards when you're on holiday, and they charge you an extortionate amount just to use the card. It's disgusting. And every time, like I said, you're making a transaction, they get payback. And going back to the Wonderskate's currency is, well, they could decide that the currency that you've got your account saved in, or your digital wallet, has now been taken away by the government, and you'll have no power over it. So it's scary, and I worry about, do we actually live in a democracy?
Yeah.
And I think that although we think we've got all these freedoms, we don't actually have all these freedoms.
Freedoms now.
Is my view.
Just look up about how a fractioned reserve money system works, and you will be horrified as to how money is created and manipulated.
Oh, that's interesting. So I think what that person's saying there is that basically you can give a bank account £10,000 in savings. That bank account will take your money and they will borrow that to somebody else, and it becomes that £10,000 is now given to somebody else, and it doesn't exist, and they make that £10,000 of yours into 100,000, and you're going, how the hell did that happen? They just do it. Cash is king at the moment, says Tim, and Tony says, if you draw out all your savings, then nowhere to spend it.
Agreed, Tone. Yeah, and please, I ain't got much savings.
Yeah, well, I think that I don't know if all of the shopping centres will go, to be honest. I mean, I know they start to close them, but eventually, where is everybody going to go? Where is everybody going to go? Tim's going, what savings?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, but I mean, this is it, because I mean, cashless society. I mean, they do give you money back on on some credit cards, don't they? You know, that's what they're pushing, money back. 5% or whatever.
Yeah, but the thing is that they do that, right? And they say, oh, we'll give you a 5% cash back, because it wants you to spend more money so that you don't settle your account every month. And then once your interest, 0% interest, which is not zero, it's normally a 3% interest rate. Once your 0% interest rate has done, they're going to charge you 25%. So invariably, your thing's gone. And Marcus is in.
Yeah, hello, Marcus. Thanks a lot for joining us. So Steve says, if everyone wanted to withdraw all their savings at the same time, impossible. All of that money doesn't actually exist. You're right there, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, and also if you're trying to take out, and it is interesting because I've never had an encounter with the bank before where I've gone into the bank. I was having some work done in the house, and I wanted to pay the builder cash in hand. So I went in and I said, can I take a couple of £1,000 out of my account, please? And they said, well, why do you need it? And I'm going, well, it's my money. That's why I need it. But you've got to give us a reason for it because of money laundering.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I've never, ever, I've been with you for 35 years. I've never, ever, you had any problem. So it's weird what's going on.
Yeah, I know it is. You know, they want to know everything, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
How much you when you withdraw, what you're withdrawing it for, and everything like that.
Yeah.
You know, it is terrible when you look at it. Yeah, Marcus, we're talking about a cashless society, basically, and are we heading for a cashless society? It seems so, but there's going to be a lot of people that suffer.
Mm.
So Marcus has said the bank wants to protect you from scammers. Yeah, but it's only because people got money in the bank. If you didn't have the money, the scammers wouldn't know how much you've got.
Well, I think the bank doesn't want the scammers to take your money, but in some instances when people have been taken advantage of, they lose money. They don't get it
Mm.
back from the bank because they've got to go through
Yeah.
hoops to get their money, to get their money refunded.
Mm.
Brown gave away all our gold reserves.
Yeah. And Steve says, my mate took out a 10,000 loan. The bank tried getting it back, then managed to prove it was fraudulently lended as it was created out of nothing and countersued for the full amount and won.
Wow,
Easy 10K. Yeah.
that's clever. Yeah. So he's saying there wasn't 10 grand there in the first place. So
First
how could
place.
you have borrowed me?
Yeah. And he says the banks are the scammers, laughs out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they are. They want people to get into debt. They don't want a debtless society because that's what keeps everything going.
Well, I found, although I don't agree with some of his politics, the thing with Nigel Farage really interesting a few weeks ago. Tim was thinking the same. I'm going, oh, Tim's come down. I've just mentioned Farage, and he's come up with it. So basically, Nigel had that Coots and Co bank account,
Yeah.
and they closed it because they felt that his political view was counter to the society's view, which was ironic. And so they closed his account, and then he countersued, and then basically they sacked the woman who's sort of like that NetWest lead person, only to find that lead person was making, like, I don't know, sort of £2 million, I think she took off.
Yeah. So Steve says debt is money and money is debt. In the fractional reserve system, one cannot exist without the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The banks have to have debt because they need to have the interest to be paid to pay off the other debts. So it's like Peter paying Paul in a sense. And you only have to look at some of the scandals that have happened over the years, haven't you? Sort of have you watched the Madoff thing? I watched the Madoff documentary on Netflix. It was really interesting how this guy selling penny stock and all sorts of stuff. He managed to like nick millions of pounds over a 10-year period.
Yeah. But it's surprising this. I mean, the research we've done, both of us, on this cashless society, how it is. It's not just in one country; it's worldwide, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's scary when you look at what can happen, and then the poor people of our society, they're the ones that are going to suffer.
Yeah. I don't actually know what Reform UK is actually, Keith.
It used to be the Brexit Party.
Oh, okay. Now I know. Not going to lie, The Wolf on Wall Street, yes, is a great film, but the guy it is based on in real life is a real scumbag. Yeah. Nothing like how he is portrayed in the film. Yeah, and then, which was really interesting, is the guy who funded the film, I think he was from Nepal or something. He had robbed millions, or Indonesia somewhere. He had robbed millions out of them. He robbed the country of millions, and he got done for fraud as well. And the guy from the Wolf of Wall Street runs some sort of consultancy firm, but apparently it's a really nasty bit of work.
So Tim says they need your vote. Tim, it's not a political.
Well, you know what there is, but thinking about politicals, and I don't talk about politicals anyway at the moment. I'm quite skeptical right now because I think the Tories are making a complete bloody hash of it. The Labour government are making a hash of it. I think the Liberal Democrats at this point are going to do really well in the next general election, 100%. Oh, the guy from the Wolf of Wall Street is back with new cryptocurrency scam. Beware. Ooh. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so. We'll have to have a check up on that after the stream.
Yes. And then there was a thing. There was talking about cryptocurrency. There was another one. Was it Romanian or Bulgarian crypto queen who basically disappeared off the face of the earth, and it was one of the biggest banks in the world. OneCoin or something like that. Really interesting documentary.
Yeah.
Tim said, "God help us if the Lib Dems get in." Tim, I do think though. I do think that the Lib Dems are going to force. They're going to align with either the Labours or Conservatives. So whichever way you fear it's going to be a Lib Lab or a Lib Con. I'm looking at the Lib Lab. I don't think we'll have a Conservative government next time round.
No,
To be
well,
honest.
Tim thinks it's going to be the Reform Party that's going to win.
Nah, not yet.
So-
It's not big enough yet. It's not big enough.
Well, Tim was saying that they're going to put candidates up in every ward. So that's all I know. I mean, I'm not into politics, and I'm not going to get into politics on this channel.
No.
If anybody else wants to get into politics, well,
Oh,
that's different.
no. I'm not having a political debate at all.
No.
I kind of was something to do with the conversation. But anyway, a lot of those crypto scams involve what's called a rug pull, build up trust with small gains, get a load of people heavily invest and sell and disappear over and over again anonymously. Yes. What I was thinking of, build trust with small gains. Who is it doing it? There's loads of those going on. That it was like the NFTs and non-fungible tangibles, and people paying millions and millions of pounds for those apes, those crypto apes. I think Justin Bieber paid millions of pounds. Like I think he paid 750,000 for this ape, and it's worth 430 now.
Yeah.
So
Tim's put, I agree. There will have 630 candidates at the next election. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they're going out. They're really pushing it.
Oh, for sure, Wonderskate, they are definitely dead. But there were a lot of people doing it. There's a channel that I watch called Coffee. Have you ever watched this channel, Keith?
No.
Coffeezilla.
No.
He covers all these scams and stuff. I'm addicted. I watch him quite a bit. I haven't watched him for a while, but he's really good. I think he got Logan Paul and Jake Paul, like proper.
Yeah.
He did. I think they had some sort of scheme which was about dinosaur eggs, and he really sort of put him through the ringer to force actually Jake Paul to come forward and make an apology video to him.
And Marcus has put down Godzilla is fantastic.
Yeah, Coffeezilla is really good. It's a really good channel.
Oh yeah, so he watches them then. Oh, I will have to look them up then now.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you put the link in.
I can't get into the thing for one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've watched many Coffeezilla videos. One of the best creators on the platform. Great investigator with high production values. Yeah, he's very. I don't like the stupid robot he has a conversation with, but yeah, he is a good creator.
Oh, I will have to have a look at him then. Yeah, definitely. Seems I haven't seen him, so that'll be interesting for me to watch his videos then.
Yeah.
So, the people in the chat, what is your opinion? Do you think we will go to be a cashless society or free to laugh? I've been.
Oh, Marcus has put a link in. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Marcus. I've been a cashless since I got married 36 years. Now that one is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the channel name, Free to Laugh. No wonder, yeah.
That's a good one.
Tim's put, not if I can help it. So thank you for that one, Free to Laugh. That's
that was good. That was, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Free to laugh now. Oh, that was brilliant, that one. So, is there anything more that you got to say then about this issue of are we heading for a cashless society?
I don't think so, but I think we should explore some more.
Yes.
So we should look at scams, and I think we need to start looking at the latest scams and things like that that are going on.
Yeah.
What do you
That's
think?
that is a good one for the next time
Yeah.
because we have got a few more before Gail's away on holidays to the States,
Mm.
haven't we? Oh, an
Yeah.
all digital current. Oh, that's good, isn't it? What's these? Is the question a cashless society or an all digital currency society? Hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I would suggest it's a digital currency society based on the fact that the cash is going out, and then it's going to be, I think, see what's going to happen in the next 4 or 5 years in relation to
Yeah.
how this is all going to work. Are we going to be Bitcoin? Are we going to be with our even credit cards will go? You just
Yeah.
being, oh, I could do a live. Well, I could do, Tim, because I will be staying with my lovely friend Marta. So I will be staying there for 10 days. So yes, I will definitely be doing a live from the US at some point there. Yes, for sure.
Yes. Yes.
But
But are
it's
we
5
going to do
hours.
Are we going to do the Gail and Keith show
I
from
don't know
States?
yet, please, because I think it would be awfully impolite to say to Marta, "Excuse me, Marta, I know it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. However, I just need to do a live."
Yeah. Well, she could come on.
Yeah, she could, but I think that we only have a few days together because she has to work while I'm
Yeah.
visiting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Just do
um,
what most people do in my area and trade exclusively in illegal narcotics. Laughs out loud. Yes,
yeah.
correct there, Steve.
Want a bag of chips or have some of these? Have some cannabis.
Yeah. So I think we'll finish there because we've been on
Okay.
47 minutes
All right.
and it's been a good conversation again. And we look forward to seeing you all next Sunday, hopefully, when we will have another subject. So
Thank you.
bye for all.